Hello, and under the spotlight today is Lee Harris-Hamer of White Horse Cleaning Services. Hi, Lee. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're well.
I am. Thank you very much. And how are you today?
Yeah, no, good. Better that the sun's shining. It makes us all feel a lot more happier, doesn't it?
Yeah, bring on the spring. It's absolutely great. Well, Lee, listen, thank you very much for agreeing to be under the spotlight today. We would like to take this opportunity to find out a bit more about you and your business. So what would be really great is if you, I know your business is just coming up for its 5th birthday, but I'm really interested in the story of your business about the last 12 to 15 months. So can you give us a snapshot of what's been happening over the last year or so, Lee?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll take you. What I'll do is I'll take you back to where it all just started in November in 2019. That seems so long ago, doesn't it? It sounds so far away. So basically, in November 2019, White Horse Cleaning Services was a domestic and commercial. So we've probably done about 70% worth of domestic to about 30%. Worth of commercial, but what I found was 80% of my 80% of my problems were coming from 20%. 80% of my problems were coming from 20% of my business, and we had lots of staff, we had no foundations, everything was a little bit hectic. But also, my mental health was just absolutely, when they say nuts, literally it's crazy. And how can you support a business and staff and stuff like that when you're not okay yourself? And I'd start therapy again and stuff like that. You can find out more about my journey, like all over our social media platforms and stuff like that. But mainly in November, that is what stood out to me when things were going wrong. The business was making quite a significant loss just because of the traveling time, the domestics and stuff like that. And it wasn't a great, and basically the clients didn't know about it, but all the plates looked like they were spinning, but behind they were literally crashing. So something had to happen. So we got Christmas out of the way. We went on Christmas leave and had a bit of downtime. Then one day in February, I just woke up and I was like, do you know what? I've had enough. I've had enough. We can't keep going on like this. The business isn't sustainable. Having all these clients, all these stuff, lots of traveling time, no processes, no foundations, no nothing. And it was at a point where we just could not carry on. If we carried on, we'd have probably either gone bust. I would have probably got myself in a lot of trouble down the employment law route, which nobody wants. And it just wasn't a safe, healthy environment. I was like, enough's enough. We are going to pivot the business. Well, at the time, I didn't know what the word pivot means. So we're going to change the business and the way we do things. So we're going to get rid of the 80% of the problems. So in February, we got rid of 200 clients. We literally had domestic clients who'd been with us for like 4 years, and they were crying. We had some clients that offered us, we will pay whatever you want to keep your services. It was absolutely nuts. I said to the team, like, we are just cleaners, and the pressure on my shoulders, and in my head, I was thinking, am I making the right decision? But at this time we was working, all my team was working like 50, 60 hours. I was working 20-hour days. I had a family that never saw me. I was spending more time in other people's houses, cleaning them, that is, than in my own house, seeing my own family, which was shocking. So I was like, no, that's it. It's going. I was like, I cannot physically or mentally go on anymore like this. So the 1st of March, we worked really, really hard to get a good foundation put in place. And it really worked. So from the 1st of March, we decided 1st of March was the day that we're going to have the new change. The pivot, the change of the business is going to happen on the 1st of March. And unfortunately, we had to make one person redundancy, which she volunteered for because she didn't want to go down a commercial route. She liked the domestic cleans, which was very sad. And so then the 1st of March, we changed the business and we started it. But unfortunately, coronavirus kicked off. So I didn't only have this pivot going on, I had the coronavirus going on and the very uncertainty that had, as well as having being very, very poorly with coronavirus myself and having to isolate. Mm-hmm. So it was literally nuts in March. March was like crazy. But I had a fantastic team. You know, I've got a fantastic coordinator who basically, she stepped up and kept the business running while I couldn't, always on the phone, said, Lee, this is what's happening. And really, and that's when, for me, my team stood out as the best team in North Yorkshire. They're really good. And I always go back to the point of, I would go to battle. Obviously, my military background, I would have gone to war with every single one of them because they all had my back and really dug deep. So then on March the 23rd, so that's when we went into a national lockdown when Boris said, you need to stop working. What did that mean? For me, it was like, right, we need to close the doors. And also, the biggest decision for me is, how can you deal with something that you don't know a lot about? Well, for me, you know, I'm not going to try and keep something a clean working environment. I'm not going to try and keep all my there was only about 40% of our business left anyway, because everyone's shut, because they was in offices and stuff like that. But the other 40% is, how can I physically keep them places clean and safe when I don't know a lot about what's going on myself? That would make me a hypocrite and actually a thug for trying to do it. That's how I felt. So on the 23rd of March, I actually cried like a big baby because I had to close the door of my business, and it was nuts. Explaining that to clients was nuts, and explaining to the staff that we can't go on was crazy. But at this time, we didn't know financially how we was going to survive. The way we worked our business, we were on a 30-day payment term, so we had 2 months of we could get to April, basically the end of April, of wages, because we had them reserves in place, obviously because we're on this 30-day payment term. So it worked well for us to do that. Yes, cash flow wise, it's always a struggle being on the 30-day because you're chasing your tail, but actually it worked well for us because we still had 30 days worth of reserves plus the 30 days that we're owed, so which was really, really good for us. But it was amazing. Hindsight is amazing because it allowed me to work not only on my business. So we was closed for 2 months. It not only allowed me to work on my business and actually have time to think about where I want my business to go, what I want it to achieve, what our foundations look like, put processes in place. So the processes that weren't in place, they are now in place. You know, I was making my shit watertight. Basically. And then, so that was that. But also I got to spend 2 months with my family because my wife she works for the business too. Again, you'll never see her because she's behind the scenes, basically holding me accountable, prodding me with a big stick, making sure I'm doing. And so it's I got to spend time with my family that I've never had since I was 17. I've never had more than a week off. So actually having 2 months off with my family was amazing. And one thing that what always sticks into my head to make sure that the changes work for us is in the first week, my son's teacher rang him and she was like, so Reggie, how are you finding lockdown? What's the positives from it? And he was like, I have my dad home. That I literally had, it set me off again, a big massive crying baby in the corner, and I was like, so I have to be home for my family. That's what my children want. And then we opened in June, which was amazing. We had the processes in place. The staff had a break, was refreshed. But they had to still, so basically we have mandatory health and safety courses that they have to do. So we had to keep our face on. The staff had to keep their training up, and we kept our social media going. We built our face again, making sure that our presence was still there. We did have 10% of, so we do some food manufacturing places that we had to keep doing.
Yes, yeah.
When they was classed as key workers. And the biggest thing also, I spoke to my MP, I was like, one of the reasons why we shut, because we wasn't classed as key workers. You know, we didn't have that key worker thing. So actually, when they said stop, that's one of the reasons why we stopped, because we didn't come under that category. And I asked him in the June, I had a round table with him, and I was like, my business had to stop, you know, because we weren't classed as the key workers. He was like, no, you didn't have to stop. I was like, no, but the message we got told was we have to stop unless you're a key worker. Anyway, without going down that route, but so they carried on, which was amazing. 3 staff carried on, did grow and worked throughout, and done an absolute amazing job. The rest of the stuff, we came back, we had a so we put a plan together. I'm jumping here there. So we we'll go back to June. The processes we put in place to keep everyone safe was a bubble format. So it's basically what the schools were talking about. Each team, if they worked in team, if you're a lone worker, you'd be in your own bubble. But if you're in the team, so say for instance 2 cleaners, 2 team members, they would go into one bubble, and basically they would get allocated one vehicle, and basically nobody was allowed to go into that bubble. Basically, one went off poorly, or if one had to go on holiday, they both had to go off at the same time to protect them 2 cleaners, but also if them 2 team members, but also if they contracted coronavirus, there isn't a risk that they're going to spread it, you know. And so, for instance, they was only people were allocated times. They was allowed to come into our offices to collect products and stuff like that. So you wouldn't get crossover. Nobody would come into contact with each other. And actually, if we needed to, we would speak through video link or over the phone and stuff like that. How would that work how did that work, so I would say, in regards to obviously quality and insurance of our clients, and to making sure that the staff are doing what they're supposed to be doing? Well, we sent a polite email saying this is what we're doing to keep your business safe. You know, but we would just ask that we're not going to come and do our monthly inspections. My supervisors are not going to come and do their inspections, but we would just like a little bit of feedback once a month, just to see how the staff are doing. Are you happy, and are they achieving the specification that we've set out? That worked a treat. Other than the suspected cases that if you got a cough, basically you go straight off. And so other than the suspected cases, we've actually not had anybody off with coronavirus, which is amazing. So the processes we put in place, but that's also the clients that we've done haven't had anybody off either. So it's either a miracle or we're just doing our job.
Maybe you're just doing a fantastic job, Lee.
You know, absolutely, that's what I put it down to. Absolutely. And also, the staff have respected that, because we do care homes. We are keeping we're keeping thousands of people safe, that adhere to social distancing, don't break the rules, try and limit where you're going out, you know. And they were really understandable. They didn't have to. They could have gone to the supermarket and stuff, but actually they didn't. They actually dug deep and actually fought, rather than looking after themselves. They was looking after everybody else, which in my heart is absolutely amazing, you know. And that's why I say I'd go to battle with every single one of them, because they've really had everybody's back and worked as a collective and knuckled down, which you want from your team.
Yeah, it sounds like you've really inspired them, Lee. I mean, it sounds like, you know, you've really turned things around. And I mean, I love the transformation that you've made for your business, and the fact that you know, and the fact that you did it when at one of the most challenging personal times of your life as well, because it's hard enough balancing a business and making those pivotal decisions, but to do it when you're also in a personal challenging situation as well is really, you know, testament to your grit and your determination, and that you've continued to inspire your team as well. And, you know, just reflecting on the past 12 months, particularly, Lee, obviously you've made a number of really interesting decisions to change and pivot and develop your business. What would you say is your number one best decision that you've made in the last 12 months, looking back now?
Make it work for you and your family. You know, that's everything I do has to work for what I want out of it, and also making sure it's profitable. You know,
Yes.
look at every client. You're not a charity. You're not, know your numbers. Like, you're not a charity. Like, I spent 4 years chasing the tail because my business wasn't profitable. You know, yes, we invested a lot in the business and we grew a lot, but make it work for you, both financially and physically, and for your lifestyle and what you want. You know, so that would probably be what I would recommend.
That was your best decision, like putting family first. Joe, it's interesting because a lot of the cleaning businesses that we work with, when we're looking at you know, putting in place processes and building the business, the first thing I do is I say, right, okay, let's plan your time. Put your family time first. So when do you want to spend time with your family? So do you want to collect your kids from school or grandkids or what, you know, wherever you are in your service, or what do you want to do? Do you want to work on a Saturday or not? Right. So block that time out. Then put in when you are able to work, when you want to work, and then we reverse engineer back from that so that they can actually take that time. And the other thing is being able to take holidays. You've got to be able to be away from your business for at least 2 weeks, and for it to still be able to run without you. Otherwise, you've not got a business, you've got a job. An unpaid job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that you really have to be harsh on yourself. You know, do you know the best decision I ever took, actually, is taking the emotional connection you have out of your business, away from them clients. You know, because yes, for the last 4 years, I've gone to see Margaret every single day. Or every single week. You know, I might be the only person that Margaret's seen. Yes, that's great, and you got to have that great relationship. But unless Margaret's paying your bills, there's no point going to see Margaret. Like, that's just a phrase that I'm using. So, or whatever it may be. So you have to take the emotional connection out of your business and say, actually, it works for me, and actually go back to, why did you set up your business? You know, when I set my business up, one, it was because I didn't really know what else to do. But secondly, I wanted it to work for my family. You know, I've got an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. You know, it has to work for me and my family. You know, so now I work 9 till 3. Monday, I have a Monday off. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I work 3 days a week. Obviously, in the background, I'm always on my phone and stuff like that. And yes, I totally get it that not all businesses get to that stage quickly, but also I put people in place to be able to allow me to have that time. You know, if you employ staff, you employ staff to do the job. Let the staff do the job.
That's it.
Know? And so actually, if you do want to work a Saturday, or financially it's better for your business to work a Saturday, there's people out there that working a Saturday fits their lifestyle, you know. So you can recruit. It goes into the recruitment thing.
Yes.
You know, let them do the Saturday. You know, you employ staff, let them do the job for you. That's what you pay them to do. You know, and so that's a very hard lesson that I've learned this year. Also, is let it go a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
Let other people do it for you, because if you trust them, you know, and you teach them and you coach them and you guide them to do the job properly, they will have your back. And that's one thing.
I think you're absolutely right, Lee. Like leveraging your staff, leveraging your team is basically the number one thing to do in order for you to be able to run the business. Because if you're operating as a tactician, just doing the day-to-day running of the business and operating those tasks, you can't see the bigger picture, and so you do lose sight of the pennies. You do lose sight of the sustainability, and then what you start doing is make decisions based on fear and panic, because something comes in and you're like, oh, I need to deal with this, so that you lose the strategy. And it isn't easy to step back, and I admire you for being able to do that, but also by allowing your team members and staff to take that responsibility and have that responsibility, you're more likely to keep them, because if you're constantly doing their job for them, you're undermining and devaluing the reason that they're in the first place. And that leads quite nicely on to, we were talking earlier about your main core values of your business. Could you please share with us what your core values are for your business and why you put those in place?
So, yeah, absolutely. So before June, we had no values. We had no core values. We had nothing, and we really sat down and thought, I sat down and in my head I thought, so when I was in the military, we had to the military gave me a great platform to be able to put all this in place, I will say, and the processes and stuff quite sort of like mirror what the military gave me. So it's the transferable skills that you learn, and I thought, what are my core values? What are my core values as a family? As a dad, but also what are my core values as an individual, and also as a boss, an employer, a friend. So I really sat down, but also I wanted a numeric, so it's easy to remember. And I thought, well, we're a cleaning company, so it has to fit in with the whole cleaning thing. So it's actually, if I got it here, so if you look down,
Brilliant.
It says clean. So I
love
want
it.
to use that, so it's easy for the staff to remember. So the first one is consistency. So I love routine. My routine is like key to me, and if I'm not in that routine, it chucks me off and stuff. So also that means the staff needs routine. Everyone likes routine. If I like it, so if the staff need to know what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, and they do that every single week. Clients like consistency. One thing that I found, and speaking to your clients, they like the same people, the same time, the same weeks, and they can run their businesses and so they can manage their life. Who wants a cleaner just turn up at 2:00 when they're supposed to be here at 4:00 and stuff like that? So that's why, and also when you're undertaking the work at hand, so like the cleaning or whatever you do, do the same thing all the time, because the client will always recognize what you don't do rather than what you do. So be consistent. So if you move that piece of paper, every time you're there, make sure you move it every time you're there, because the one time you don't move it to polish, they will see it.
Yeah.
If you're going to fold that toilet roll, make sure you do it every single time, because that's going to that's the professionalism that we offer. So our ethos is consistency keeps clients. So everything we do, we have to be consistent, and everything we deliver has to be consistent too. But also that allows, no matter what operative goes into any of our businesses, they're all doing the same. They're all singing off the same song sheet. They're all at the same time. So for instance, we deliver, and it's easier for us it's easy. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
That's okay.
It's easy. It's easy for us to then, if you get the processes, if all the processes are the same, everyone's singing off the same song sheet, and life's a lot more easier. So that's consistency. And if none of the other core values help, as long as we're consistent, I'm happy.
Brilliant.
Next one is loyal to our staff and clients. So I will give you my all. This is individual. I will bend over backwards for any of my staff. My door, we have an open door policy, so any of them can come in and chat to me, whether it's personally, about work, whatever it may be. So I'm very loyal to my staff, and I'm also personally very loyal to my clients. So every single client will hear from me personally. Because again, if you lead from the front, then the team will follow, basically. So the ethos of that is deliver the high standards of service to all our clients while supporting our colleagues. So if I support my staff are going to support the client. And so if the staff are managing the client's expectation, it allows us to then meet the staff's expectation of what we require, and so we're just loyal. And then that goes in with like customer service and stuff like that. And I always say to the staff, if you was paying for this service, what would you expect? They're a paying client, that's what they expect. So actually, if you wouldn't do that in your own business, don't do it in somebody else's. And that whether, so we get clients ringing us, do you know a plumber, Lee? Or Lee, can you organize this? And it may be outside of what we do, but again, that's us showing our loyalty to them.
Yeah, it's that the power behind networking, and it's showing that you care. And I think, although I know you said earlier on that there needs to be you need to remove yourself emotionally in order to make good business decisions. That doesn't mean to say that you need to stop caring about the value that you give as an organization. And I really like that. I really admire that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's value. So any client we're going on to value, yes, it's not one of its core values, but I think that people buy value. So when you're looking at how you sell and how you deliver your service, what value, I always ask myself, what value can I offer that nobody else can? What can my staff offer that nobody else can? And I think I don't compete on price. I don't compete on I compete on value,
Yes,
and again, also, but if we're looking at subcontractors, if we're looking at taking people on, what value can they bring to me too? So it's actually a two-way thing. That is. The next one is effort. So if you give your all, if you give 100% effort at all times, and you can't give no more, I'm happy with that. If I can't give no more, and if I feel that I'm giving 100%, I can't give no more. So if my all isn't good enough, then we're not for you. And that's vice versa from the staff. If you can give me, if you give me your all and that's not good enough for me, then there's no point. That's going against your self-respect. That's how I look at it anyway. So it's giving our best at everything we do. And so going on the core values, there is two more, but just while I'm on that every decision that we make has to be within these core values, and everything we do has to be. If they're not within these core values, we don't do it. It's simple. No matter how much I like it, or my supervisor likes it, or how much I don't like it, if it's within it, then we do it. If it's not, then we don't do it. But also that's looking at the client, and recruitment and stuff. So anyway, I digress. So the next one is accountability. And it's as simple as everyone taking ownership and responsibility for their own decisions, actions, and performance. So if I have to be accountable, so if I don't do my job, my staff, we won't meet the staff's hours, we won't meet the client's expectations. So and if I'm not doing that, my clients will hold me personally accountable. My staff will hold me accountable.
Your wife will hold you accountable.
My wife, my biggest accountability is my wife. And also I have a fantastic coordinator, and she will hold me accountable, and she will tell me to wire my neck in, or she will tell me that I've not made the right decision and stuff like that. And then also your network, network will hold you accountable massively. So actually, if I say something today that I'm not agreed with, somebody will stand up and say, "Oh, actually, I think you're wrong." That's great. That's great. So it's just about taking actions for your performance, and obviously accountability is in your actions and your performance. So when you do your KPIs, when you do your when you look at your figures for the month, it's all there. And if you're not performing, that's going to hold you accountable, because you won't be able to afford something, or you won't be able to deliver or grow. So accountability is key. I think the biggest one is accountability in any business. And then the last one is noticeable. So N was quite a tricky word, and I was like, how can I? What can N fit within the core values? And it's quite a tricky key word to come up with. But noticeable, be the best you can and be better than the rest. So it's how can I be better than everybody else? That's not from a snobbish point of view, but that's basically, you want to be notable, because I want my brand to be the best brand out there. I want my business to be the best business out there. I want my operatives to be the best cleaners out there. I want to deliver the best service. So that's for me. I think that, again, it goes back to effort. If you do the best that you can, you're going to be noticeable. Keep your face on, keep
Yeah.
it current. So they're my core values. And like I was saying, that all these core values, I have to do it. My staff have to do it. My clients have to do it. I know that sounds very cliche, but if they don't fit within my core values, so we want to clean the best showrooms up there. We want to clean, you want to work for the best. I want to be the best employer. I want my staff to say, do you know what, Lee, you're the best employer. You've looked after us, because again, that allows us then to have good retention rates. It means that we don't have to slog recruiting all the time for old job positions. You
know what, you're absolutely, you're definitely, you're spot on. One of the things that that we talk about, especially with cleaner recruitment, is about becoming a business of choice.
Yeah.
And that takes work. You've got to brand and work as hard internally as externally. And it's amazing, the disparity in terms of the effort that a lot of cleaning businesses put into like trying to attract other clients, but they really compromise when it comes to that internal branding. So I love those values that you've got, and I love the fact that those values mean so much to you personally, and that radiates out across all your stakeholders. So those are your team, your management team, your family, your clients. It's wonderful to see. And just quickly before we round up, Lee, how do you see your business evolving in the next 12 months? So what can we expect from White Horse Cleaning Services in the next 12 months?
So it's really exciting, actually. The next 12 months is super duper exciting. So one is, the main thing is to make sure we continue being profitable. I'm not a charity. I came into business to feed my family, and offer the best. We've got, so actually in 2 weeks' time, we've got our first sales executive starting. But again, if the core values work and they're in place and we abide by them, she won't have to work hard, because obviously our retention, we won't have to keep looking for new clients. We won't have to market all the time. So we have her starting last week. I don't know if anybody else's cleaning company or or heard of any, but last week I think everyone just found the confidence to open up again.
Yes.
All our old clients are coming back, but also because cleaning is up there on everyone's Richter scale, everyone's changing their cleaning contracts. They notice that the people that hasn't delivered, the companies or the individuals that haven't delivered in the last 12 months, they're going. They want new clients, they want new companies and stuff like that. And lastly, just continue what we're doing. Just continue having a happy work-life balance, continue growing as a company, open up my network, finding forums like this, where we can help other people, because it's not just about helping myself and helping my family. It's about employing people. It's about helping other business owners, collaborating, that sort of thing, and just helping each other. And lastly, be kind. Go forward by being kind to everybody. So 12 months is very exciting. I'm just going to continue what we're doing on this business model that we have, and just continue smiling.
Lovely. Lee, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey so far. And I, for one, am really looking forward to seeing how things progress and evolve over the next few years for you. And just before we do finish, I just want to wish your company a very happy 5th birthday from later. Oh, it's next month, isn't it? In April. Is that right?
Yeah. In April.
A happy 5th birthday for your business in April.
No, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure.